All right, now for more on what transpired in the EFF People's Assembly, we are now joined in studio by Candy Maphanga. Candy, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. And of course, just going back in terms of what the EFF leader said in terms of this particular case, Mkhwebane's case, saying that he's never seen anything like that before. He's also questioned the independence of the judiciary. Now, before we just talk about the election of the new leaders in the Gauteng province, let's talk about some of those utterances he made in his closing remarks, starting with the judiciary.
Well, thank you for having me, Unati. So EFF leader Julius Malema always takes the opportunity when he gives these addresses, not only to address Gauteng or the different regions and the branches of the EFF, but he also takes some time to discuss some contentious issues in the nation. This is nothing new coming from the EFF leader. You've heard this before. He has questioned some elements of the judiciary. I don't know if we can frame it as the independence, but he has looked at some judgments, some decisions with a questionable eye. He's saying that with regards to this Mkhwebane matter, he was unbelievably shocked that in less than 24 hours of her getting that High Court victory, and considering the fact that she hasn't won many cases, so he was shocked that in less than 24 hours there was already an appeal that was filed to ensure that she couldn't return to those offices. And of course he's linking that back. Of course he gets back to the Phala Phala saga, that he questions whether these institutions can be truly independent, questioning SARS, the Hawks, the Public Protector. Where are the answers on this issue? So he's linking all of those issues back together, and those are some of his thoughts in discussing these national issues at the Gauteng Provincial Assembly.
Of course, yesterday we saw, the election results coming in terms of the new leadership of Gauteng for EFF, and of course, Ekurhuleni Regional Chair, Nkululeko Dunga, now the Gauteng chairperson. So talk to us about that process and also who else was nominated during this time.
Well, that process went about quite seamlessly. I'm sure you would remember that a few weeks prior to this provincial assembly, stories did come out regarding the processes. Remember EFF leader Julius Malema, as well as other leaders, I think it was Floyd Chavamba as well, if I'm not mistaken, I stand to be corrected on that one, that were accused of meddling in that process in order for Nkululeko Dunga to become chair. Now he has poured cold water on those allegations, saying that he was elected free and fairly in this process. A lot of these provincial assemblies, or these assemblies that take place within the EFF, surprisingly don't have much contestation. It seems that once a person is nominated, there's almost a bit of a united front. I don't know, maybe if you can read that differently or not, but Nkululeko Dunga, it was known before, there were reports before that he was the preferred candidate, and of course when he was nominated it was unopposed, and he was named the provincial chair. There's Philip Makwala, who joins him as deputy chair. Moshe Koma comes back again as secretary. Betho Munyao as deputy secretary. And then there is one woman in the leadership position, Gillette Maloka, as treasurer. So they have this incredible task of heading to the 2024 election. There's a bit of an opportunity for the EFF, as the ANC is almost holding on for dear life in that province. So we could see a possibility of coalitions come 2024 in the province.
And of course, just mentioning the treasurer role, saying that they need to start extending, the women's role beyond just being treasurer or deputy this or deputy that, saying that they need to appoint them to more senior roles. So that's going to be very interesting to see. But you've mentioned the elections, the upcoming elections. In fact, he says the 2024 elections will be similar to that of 1994 in that it will change, the political scene of South Africa. So, of course, he's saying that EFF is ready with this particular leadership, but also other new members that they want to welcome within the party.
Well, I think what you can draw from that is that they're ready to go into some sort of an agreement or a coalition in the Gauteng province. I mean, it's highly unlikely that they would immediately jump into a leadership position there. They would need assistance of other political parties to get that. We've seen in the past that coalitions or the agreements with other parties such as the DA have not gone so well. So it remains to be seen come 2024 how they will approach these various agreements in order for them to govern. But the opportunity is there for that to occur.
And I mean, it's quite interesting because, again, one of the opportunities that he had during this briefing was to be very scathing towards the ANC. So it will be quite interesting to see how those initial talks that they've had in the various provinces will, come to fruition when we do head to the elections.
And to add to that, it'll be interesting to see, because some of the policies of the EFF are not necessarily in agreement with the ANC. You've seen how Julius Malema also took the opportunity to address the issue of illegal migration, calling out the ANC as to how they did not see this issue in Zimbabwe coming to the fore back then when they made the decision to introduce some of the remedies that they introduced at the time. So it'll be interesting to see how these political parties work together when they have such different beliefs on issues that are quite prominent right now in South Africa.
Fantastic. Candy Maphanga, thank you so much for that. And of course, that's all the time we have for now. Thank you so much. Candy Maphanga joining me in a studio just to give us all things related to the EFF.